Recycling Project TV.
Hi, my name is Miguel Andrade.
And I'm Alex Wiles.
Thank you for watching MMPTV, where we tell the untold stories of those uniting across struggles to put people first. Today we have Zodwa Zimbade, Minkelo Nabankulu, who are leaders from Abahlali Bazimjandolo, or the Shack Dollars movement in South Africa. We also have Darakel, who co-directed the film Dear Mandela, which tells the story of Abahlali. They're joining us as a part of Dear Mandela's United States tours, and we'll be talking about the making of the film, as well as their work as leaders in a growing social movement. All right, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tanya.
So at first, if you guys could tell me a little bit about yourselves, like where are you from?
My name is Zodwa Nzibande. I'm coming from Durban in South Africa. I'm coming from a social movement called Abahlali Bazimjandolo, which is based in South Africa, in Durban.
Mm-hmm.
Hi everybody, my name is Mnikelo, my surname is Ndabangulu. I'm also coming from Durban, South Africa. I'm the spokesperson of an organization called Abahlali Bazimjandolo Movement, and I'm also part of the Dear Mandela tour, which is taking place in the US and Haiti.
And I'm Darakel, and I grew up in South Africa, in Durban and Cape Town, and spent the last 4 or 5 years making the film Dear Mandela, which features the Abahlali Bazimjandolo movement.
Right, so you're all from Durban. All right, so let's get right to the name, Abahlali Bazimjandolo. I really hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. What exactly does it mean for people who may be wondering what the name of the movement actually means?
Abahlali Bazimjandolo means the residents who live in the informal settlements.
And how long?
So it's a vernacular language that is being used in South Africa. It belongs to Zulu language.
So it's part of the Zulu language?
Yes.
Fascinating. And how long has the movement been around? And how long have you guys yourselves have been involved as leaders in this movement?
The movement actually was formed in 2005, so it has got 7 years by now. We've already celebrated 5 years anniversary 2 years back. And both of us, we've been part of the formation of the movement since it started.
So you guys have been around since the beginning, since 2005?
Yes.
You guys don't look that much older than I am. How old were you guys when you guys started being involved in the movement?
I think we were like 17.
So young.
17, because we used to laugh with Mnikelo that if Abahlali were able to get houses like immediately after we started the movement, we wouldn't be able to get it, because one of the conditions of getting the house, you need to be like 18 years and you need to have dependencies and all the stuff. So by the time we joined the movement, we were not qualifying to get houses.
Mm. So you guys joined the movement because you were trying to gain housing, right? So is that what the whole movement itself is about? What exactly what was the catalyst that formed Abahlali?
One of the main objectives to form the movement was to partner the government to deliver land and housings to the people. And one of some of the valuable aims was to bring back the dignity of the shack dwellers, because shack dwellers were the most disrespected people in the society. So if you are a shack dweller, some people would think that because we're coming from that poor background, they may think that your mind is also poor. So we're pushing that campaign that we can be poor in life, but that does not automatically make us to be poor in mind too.
Mm. So and so we heard a little bit about how Zodwa became involved. How did you become involved in the movement, Minkelo?
I was part of the second segment to be part of Abahlali, because the first blockade was started by Kennedy Road residents before the name Abahlali were born. And after they did that action, they seen a need that within the neighborhood, there are some communities which are living in the same conditions, which they saw a need to amalgamate them in part of this struggle, and then they gone to my area, and then they shared their grievances, and then we've seen that our challenges are the same. Then we decided to be part of it. Then when we try to make other areas to be part of it. Then we said, let's have a common name that will unite us all. Then we said a common name that will unite us all is to call we are the shack dwellers, because everybody is a shack dweller. So it will not like be the struggle coming to join a particular area or a particular branch, but the struggle is yours because everybody is a shack dweller.
So you guys really pride yourself in being inclusive of everybody that's in this struggle, and not just say that you guys are the Shack Dwellers movement from Durban, but you guys are like the Shack Dwellers movement of South Africa. That's really, I think that's really inspiring. That
they're united.
Yeah, you know, uniting across struggles. I mean, that's sort of how the whole theme of the show is about. So I want to know more history about the movement itself. How big was it when it formed, and how big would you guys say it is now?
When the movement basically was formed in 2005, and the movement, how it's now operating into 64 settlements nationwide, and it has a membership based of 25,000 members nationwide. So we are organizing communities from informal settlements to formal settlements, because also we are a poor people's movement. So we are no longer focusing on the informal settlements only, but we've realized that there are many poor people who need a home that will accommodate them.
And are there any requirements that people need to meet to be able to join the movement, or can anybody join? Are there any things? What does somebody have to bring to the table in order to be part of this? Because I've been told that there's this thing that you guys have to bring around like 50 people to maybe a meeting or something. What's that about?
Part of our struggle, we don't really have a lot of restrictions in terms of age or citizenship, but the movement is basically for the shack dwellers, the poor people who feel that the shack dwellers stands for their interest. And the condition to be part of the struggle is that when you've heard of Abahlali, you come to Abahlali as an individual. We propose to you that you go to your neighborhood, you go to your locality and share the same sentiment that Abahlali are sharing. Then once you share that sentiment, then we give you a membership form to go and recruit more people. In order for us to recognize you as a branch, we need to have at least a minimum of 50 people paid up members, simply because we don't want an individualized struggle, because it also wastes time and resources, because someone can come from an area which is facing eviction, and he or she quickly come to our office. Then we can try to work out that whether we're using a political strategy or a legal strategy, and then we win. And then tomorrow, 2 people from that particular area come too. So that's why we say the person who came first must go and share the information with the whole entire community, so that we can just make up a strategy to save all the people at the same time. And we also try to get rid of the spirit of individualism. We want to bring back the spirit of Ubuntu, humanity, community, neighborhood, and love for one another.
So Abahlali is not about organizing individuals, but it's more about organizing communities to fight with each other and for each other. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, because one of the reasons why we need a person must also tell another people, because we know that when you're facing evictions, it's your neighbor who hears you first. It's your family who hears you first before you can even conduct the movement. So we felt it is crucial for them to be part of the broader movement, and also to running away from this individuality that my problem is my problem, so I'm the one who's responsible to solve it. But we believe that a problem shared is a problem solved. So if you can be united, so we can be able to solve our problems.
So I'm going to take a wild guess and say that people aren't just coming to Abahlali with housing problems. I'm sure they're, you know, as long as worldwide there's problems with housing, healthcare, education. How does that work out? How does that come about in the movement? if somebody has a problem, not so much with housing in particular, but they have a major problem also with the education or the health of their child, how does the...
As a movement, we deal with issues of injustice, we deal with issues of anti-corruption. So if your struggle or your concern regards to injustice, then that's our struggle, because we believe that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. That is why we tackle that, and we take it into consideration that there are many people are facing a lot of injustice, and a lot of the countries are facing a lot of corruption. So all those challenges are part of our struggle. Even when it comes to school campaign in South Africa, we also campaign and advocate for the community to be aware that there is a policy in place that talks about the exemption of parents from payment of school fees who cannot afford to pay school fees for their children, which most of the people are not aware of that. Then we say in no ways that our children couldn't go to school just because their parents don't have money. So we push that campaign and we fight, and we've managed to put a lot of children in school without paying school fees if parents do not afford.
So it's about dealing with injustices and about fighting for people's human rights, actually, for like the right of education, housing, and stuff like that.
And also to bring back the dignity of the poor people, because in our society that we are living at, is that if we are poor, you are not treated fairly as the rich people. So our role as the movement is to make sure that the dignity of a poor people is being recognized and is being treated fairly, and also as much as the struggle of Abahlali is primarily about land and housing, but we also understand that our main objective is to have a human development, and a human development has so many components that makes a human being. It's not only about house, because you can have a house, but if there's no peace in that house, so it's like we don't have a house. So we had to tackle every aspect of life so that we know that we have developed a human being.
Right. It's really empowering, and to be able to hear you guys saying that there's no divisions in the movement, that it's about people, that it's about, doesn't matter what struggle or what fight they're facing. It makes me think a little bit about, so right now in the United States, we're about to enter into the presidential elections, and a lot of the stuff you guys hear, that we hear on the television, is about very individualized struggles. You know, the candidates will come out and speak about education only or about housing only. What do you guys think about that, just in general? I'm sure that doesn't just happen with candidates in the United States. I'm sure it happens worldwide. About, you know, the isolation of struggles. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
In terms of voting, as an organization, we're always pushing for no land, no house, no vote campaign, simply because we've voted a lot and we've got nothing. So we said this time around, the politicians must show that they will deliver before we vote for them. Not just we are not patriotic enough about our country, but they must give us meaningful results, promises to this time around, because these verbal promises which are made on TVs, on radio, nobody made a follow-up, and even if we made a follow-up regarding those promises, they don't respect. Right. They don't respect. So we need to change the system whereby the political leaders are accountable to political parties. We must try to change them so that they could be accountable to the citizens, to the voters, because after the citizens have voted for them, they are no longer doing what they promised the people. So we need to make sure that monitoring system and accountability is equipped.
All right, that's awesome. That's great. Well, now we're going to take a look at the trailer for the film Dear Mandela.
South Africa's international isolation is over.
Nelson Mandela begins a new era in South Africa.
We are going to build houses for you. It is not something that we can achieve overnight.
Today was another day of sporadic flare-ups with exchanges of bricks, tear gas and bullets. Across the country, disgruntled residents demand immediate housing. They say elected officials have done nothing but enrich themselves.
I've never expected that we will be fighting for something that we've been promised.
We have said we would want to eradicate informal settlements by the year 2014. Municipalities have been given much more power to prevent the emergence of new slums.
I would like to meet Dr. Nelson Mandela and ask him, how does he feel? What he has been jailed for has never been achieved.
They were going to each and everyone's house, carrying bush knives, carrying guns.
They've demolished a lot of shacks, and now they're threatening to demolish mine.
Nobody is thrown out. Everything we've done is within the Constitution.
No one may be evicted from their home without an order of court. This thing is unconstitutional.
Being poor in life doesn't mean that you are even poor in mind. So that's why we must rise up now and take action now.
For the spirit of togetherness, viva!
The Shack Dwellers Action Group is challenging provincial authorities in the Constitutional Court.
You don't need to be old to be wise. That is why we think we need to show our character while we are still young.
Right, that was awesome. Wow. So, yeah. So, Dar, how did this partnership come about to create this film?
Well, I grew up in South Africa during apartheid, and just really was excited by the birth of this new country in 1994. When apartheid ended, Nelson Mandela became the president, and it was a time of great hope. Flash forward 15 years later, and a lot of that hope had been dashed. There'd been massive, broken promises, and what was fought for, what was sacrificed for, had not been achieved. Many, many people in South Africa were even poorer than they were before apartheid. And so we heard about the Abahlali Basmandondolo movement, my partner Chris and I, and just immediately, as soon as we learned about their movement, just saw that they were fighting for against injustice, they were fighting for land and housing, but also so much more. They were also fighting for something that is universal, something that we all want, which is a dignified life.
Right, so what was it like working with Abahlali Basmandondolo and shooting on location, the environment, I guess?
Well, firstly, it was a fantastic and amazing honor to be granted the opportunity to work with Abahlali to tell the story. I think that they made the filming process extremely easy. Miguelo was our tour guide. He took us to all the branches where Abahlali has branches, to all the informal settlements. And because Abahlali has so much support in all of these different communities, we as filmmakers were granted access. And so, I think we were everyone was translating for us. They would, explain their movement. We spent a lot of time with them without the cameras as well, just trying to really understand what their movement was about, and trying to, create an authentic film that really represented their struggle.
So a lot of collaboration, a lot of cooperation went into this. That's cool. So, Michaela, what was it like being featured in the film? What kind of effect do you think it had, on the movement?
Well, the film has been very useful to the movement in terms of mobilizing and making new friends and new networks. Then for me, there's nothing special about me personally, because what you've seen in the movie, actually this is not a movie whereby there were some auditions were made for people to be film stars whatsoever. This is a documented life of how we do things in South Africa and how we face challenges. So I was not really acting. What you've seen there is something that we do on daily basis. So there was nothing planned to be on the screen. So what you've seen there is something that you were going to do with or without the cameras in the presence, because it's our life, it's what we're tackling on daily basis for our own benefit, not to do anybody's favor, because when we prevent this eviction, we prevent it for our own benefit, for our own parents, for our own neighbors.
Okay, so it seems like there was a lot of, like you said before, a lot of cooperation, a lot of collaboration from a lot of different people. So then, what kind of relationships have grown throughout the process of making the movie and the film? For example, with groups here in the United States.
As the movement, we were able to gain a lot of our affiliates or friends of Abahlali through the struggle, because we've seen that there are a lot of common struggles that is happening here in the US and also in us. So we've developed that kind of a relationship with mostly communities like I cannot mention all of them, but there are lots of struggling community that we are part of. And so they've been able to support us in terms of difficult times, and we are very thankful of that. That's great.
That's great. You guys are really gaining ground. That's awesome. So how was the film received by the people of the communities?
Yeah. Most of the people who look at the film, they give us a round of applause. Some are surprised that Shark Dwellers could be able to organize such things just for by themselves. And they give us an overwhelming vote saying that we made a history and a record breaker in the country by managing to take the government into task and take our government to the last court of the law and win. And most people are even not part of our organization, and some of the people from the leading party are saying that really our job is amazing, is reminding them of the real ANC that they've been part of while they were still workers, while they were still student universities, the ANC which was fighting for injustice, the ANC which was fighting against corruption, the ANC which was fighting for a better life for all. And it's a shame and an insult to the ANC veterans who died for this democracy we're experiencing, when after 15 years, people who have been underprivileged during the apartheid government, even during the people's government, they are still underprivileged. So really, it's not yet in Canaan, even though we are not under apartheid, but it's not yet complete, because with a democracy without a land, a democracy without shelter, without house, is not a complete democracy.
Well, as you were saying earlier at the beginning of the interview, you were saying that most people think that the Shack Dwellers, that since they are poor, they aren't able to have sort of like, opinions or really smart stuff, smart organizing. Do you think the film has been helpful in getting through to people that you may be poor financially, but that doesn't mean you're poor, mentally or emotionally? Do you think it has helped to perpetuate that?
Definitely, it proved that Shark Dwellers, poor people themselves, if they are organized and united, there's nothing that they cannot handle and there's nothing that they cannot conquer. Because the reason we pushed for no land, no house, no vote is because we found that politicians have got legal interest of the Shark Dwellers, of the poor folks, because even that dirty legislation which was proposed by the leading party, the opposition party in parliament agreed. So the opposition party and the government and the leading party agreed that this dirty law is a good law for the poor folks, up until the poor folks stood up and unite and contest, and then the Constitutional Court proved that the poor folks are more intelligent compared to the politicians, because the politicians in parliament agreed that this thing is good, it's not an attack on our democracy, up until we proved them wrong by taking them to the court, and the court told them that this has an attack to the core values of our Freedom Charter as well as the Constitution of the Republic.
Wow, that's really awesome. Like it seems like the politicians don't really share the same interest as you guys, and you guys really brought perspective to it with like this whole movement. And it really speaks for media as an organizing tool, I think, that this film helped organize people. So you've entered the film in several festivals and you won some pretty prestigious awards with it. So
Congratulations, by the way.
So what's next in terms of distribution for the film?
Well, we're very excited that the film is going to be on PBS in the United States, early 2013. So we'll keep you posted on what that date is. We don't have a broadcast date yet, but it's confirmed that it's going to be on PBS. It's going to be on a series called Afropop, which is African cinema. And we're doing lots more film festivals. We're doing lots more screenings in the next couple of months all around the world, and also in South Africa. And we don't see this as sort of a 1 year, 2 year thing. I mean, I think that the issues in the film and the struggle that Abahlali is waging in South Africa has resonance around the world, as more and more people are forced out of their homes, more and more people can't afford to feed their children or pay for the basic necessities of life. And we really just want to get this message of unity, of poor across color lines and across class lines. We want that message to be going out into the world for many, many years to come.
Right, as it should.
So Also, how can people learn more about and get involved in Abahlali Basam Jondolo, Shaq Dollars movement?
If people want to get in to know more about Abahlali Basam Jondolo, they can go to our website. Our website is www.abahlali.org, www.abahlali.org. And they can also subscribe to our mailing list. If you go to our website, you can be able to subscribe through our mailing list if they want to get news frequently or through their emails without going to our website. And they can also get us. They can also like our page on Facebook, Abahlali Basam Jondolo, and also on Twitter. They can also follow us on Twitter also.
Right, awesome.
Okay.
So
there's many ways to people get involved with you guys.
Again, media as an organizing tool. Yeah. So what's next for you guys? What are your plans for the future to further this movement even more?
What is more important about us is that we need to unite poor folks worldwide, because the oppressors of the poor folks are united.
Right.
So we need to have a united poor folks as movement, grassroots movement all over the world. And also we must also, as the citizens of the world, know for the fact that it's not only African countries which are under oppression. Even Western countries are under oppression. Recently we just heard that some of the people in the USA, which are from Bolivia and so on, have managed to receive driver's license in this country, but recently the government just cancelled all those driver's license, which is a really injustice which the world need to watch and also need to take that into consideration. And what we've already observed, we found that South African healthcare system is one of the world's best in terms of how does health system is accessed in the America, whereby everybody is supposed to have an insurance which is quite not a really affordable one. But in South Africa, you can get a complete healthcare system in our public hospitals for almost for free, because you only pay 20 rand, which is around $2 admission free, just for stationary, and you are not really forced to pay it. If you don't pay it, they don't really care. The government provides that, and we need to make sure that even if you are in America, which is one of the world's richest countries, but you must know that there are also poor people in this country as well, which the government need to consider. It's a first world country, but not everybody in the US is a first world citizen. Some do not afford, and the government need to consider that. And there are a lot of street kids in this country which the world needs to unite in solidarity with them and make sure that the government organize something, because the government can afford.
Right. The movement is much larger than it ever seems, and it spreads everywhere. It's an international movement, honestly, because there's poverty and injustice everywhere, and it's always perpetrated by people who are in power. So we need to be just as organized as they are. So yeah, that's how I feel about that, and it seems like you guys share the exact same opinion.
Yeah. I guess just like some very quick closing thoughts. I'm sure you guys have seen the finished film way before everybody else has. What were some of your, if you could describe your reaction in one word, as seeing maybe yourself on the big screen, or as seeing your finished product, getting so many accolades, what was if you could describe that reaction in one word, what was it?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Complete.
Inspiring.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's how this whole interview was too.
Yeah, I should be very proud. You accomplished a lot.
Thank you for hosting us. And thank you for being a good host. And
so we'd also like people to also follow the documentary itself on dearmandela.com, and Dear Mandela page is on Facebook as well as on Twitter, to get updates directly regard to our tour, because this is the 4th city. We are in the 8th city tour, and we're also proceeding and closing our tour in Haiti. So there are a lot of things happening. So if people really want to be updated about this documentary on Twitter, they can follow it. They can like the page on Facebook as well.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
At MMP, we know the struggle for housing in South Africa is deeply connected to what's happening here in the United States. Struggles for housing and also for education, healthcare, jobs with living wages, and for the dignity and respect that all people deserve. We also know it's going to take a movement to eliminate the structural inequality at the root of all our struggles and to ensure that people are put first in our society. Stay tuned at MediaMobilizing.org and PhillyCam. I'm Alex Wiles.
And I'm Miguel Andrade.
And thank you for watching MMPTV.